1. Rain, aka the default setting. Imagine waking up, looking outside, and thinking, ooh, looks nice today, only to be betrayed 5 minutes later by sideways rain and a soggy Greg's bag slapping you in the face. That, dear viewer, is the British weather's most loyal feature, rain. It's not just weather, it's a personality trait. Rain in Britain isn't just rain, it's a spectrum of emotional instability that ranges from just spitting to Noah's Ark Part 2. We don't have thunderstorms like Americans. We have drizzle with attitude. We don't have tropical downpours. We have persistent, soul-crushing damp that ruins your hair, your shoes, and your will to live, all before breakfast. Let's be honest, rain is basically Britain's loading screen. It's just always there in the background, buffering the seasons. And the most dangerous part? It's sneaky. It'll look dry. You'll step out in your clean trainers, head held high, and bam, sudden sideways rain that feels like it's been personally offended by your optimism. On average, it rains over 150 days a year in Manchester, and that's just the recorded stuff. Ask anyone from up north, and they'll tell you it's more like every bloody day ending in Y. Even London, despite its posh tea and museum's image, gets around 100 plus rainy days a year, which is ironic, considering how expensive the property is for essentially owning a very wet shoebox. And don't even think about umbrellas. Umbrellas are useless in British rain. Either the wind flips them inside out like a depressed metal tulip, or you forget them on a bus and just stand there soaked, pretending it's fine. What's mad is how many words we've invented for the same thing. It's never just rain, it's spitting, light and annoying. Drizzle, non-threatening but ruins your clothes anyway. Chucking it down, classic. Pelting it down, dangerous. Mizzling, somehow both mist and rain, invented in the West Country by witches. And of course, if you're Scottish, you've probably got 300 extra words the rest of the UK's never even heard of. Good morning, here's the UK forecast. Rain, followed by rain, with a slight chance of, yep, more rain. Comment below with your worst rain story. Bonus points if it involved a bus stop, white socks, or a ruined Tesco meal deal. 2. Grey and overcast, aka the mood board. You ever wake up, open the curtains, and feel like you've accidentally stepped into a Coldplay music video? Not raining, not sunny, just grey. That's it. Welcome to the most aggressively average weather system Britain has to offer, overcast. It's not dramatic enough to complain about, but not cheerful enough to enjoy. It's the wet cardboard of weather. Grey skies in the UK are so consistent, they should be on the flag. At this point, the sun isn't even hiding, it's just ghosted us completely. Now, scientifically speaking, overcast skies are caused by a thick layer of stratus clouds which block direct sunlight, but emotionally speaking, they're caused by a combination of seasonal depression and poor urban planning. This is the kind of weather that makes you question every life decision you've ever made. You can't tell what time of day it is. Is it 8 AM or 4 PM? Who knows? Feels like limbo. You go out for milk and return home feeling like you've just done a side quest in a low-budget detective show set in Sheffield. And let's be honest, overcast skies are the official lighting setup for every single British photo ever taken. Holiday snaps? Grey. Wedding photos? Grey. Your nan's 80th birthday barbecue? Grey, with a 40% chance of emotional damage. Now, you might be thinking, well, at least it's not raining. And to that, I say, yet. Overcast skies are just rain in denial. It's like your mate who says they're fine when you know they're about to cry into a bottle of Echo Falls. Some parts of the country looking at you, the Midlands get so consistently grey that locals treat a slightly brighter sky like a religious experience. People blink like moles when the sun shows up, like it's some forbidden deity returning from exile. And the worst part? Overcast weather tricks you into bad fashion choices. You leave the house thinking it's jacket weather, then spend the next 6 hours sweating like you're being interrogated on Love Island. Grey skies don't ruin your day, they just suspend it. You don't get sad, you get vaguely disappointed for 10 hours straight. And yet, weirdly, we've adapted. We treat overcast like white noise. We've just collectively agreed to operate under a blanket of sky that looks like a sad desktop background from 2007. Britain, where the only thing thicker than our cloud cover is the denial that this is perfectly normal. 3. Heat wave, aka everyone loses their minds. There's something magical, and by magical, I mean utterly unhinged, that happens in Britain when the temperature creeps above 22 degrees. It's like the entire country simultaneously loses its grip on reality. Shirts come off, barbecues appear out of nowhere, and the nation collectively decides that sunburn is a badge of honor. This, dear viewer, is what we call a British heatwave, not to be confused with an actual heatwave in, say, Spain or Dubai. No, here in Britain, Britain, a heatwave is when the sun shows up for more than 48 hours and Greg stops selling hot food out of moral obligation. The thing is, we're not built for this. Our homes are basically ovens with windows. No aircon, no breeze, just wall-to-wall radiated regret. You sit on the sofa and immediately stick to it. You open a window for relief only to let in more hot air and a wasp with a vendetta. And don't even get me started on public transport. The tube during a heatwave is an endurance sport. It's 40 degrees, someone's eaten a Scotch egg on the platform, and you're wedged between three sweaty strangers who all smell like Lynx Africa and despair. Now, scientifically, the UK's heatwaves have been getting worse thanks to climate change. 2022 saw Britain hit over 40 degrees Celsius for the first time ever, which led to train tracks literally buckling and tarmac melting like cheese on toast. Infrastructure-wise, we're built for drizzle, not Satan's front porch. But here's the real comedy. We absolutely thrive in the chaos. The first sunny day hits and people are out in the park at Tenham with Bluetooth speakers and 4 crates of Strongbow. People who haven't exercised in 11 months are suddenly sprinting for an open field like it's a scene from Braveheart. British dads, of course, take this time to assert their ancient barbecue rights. Shirt off, tongs in hand, one eyebrow singed, cooking 17 sausages no one asked for. It's his moment. He's been waiting since March. But the real danger isn't sunburn or dehydration, it's British optimism. The belief that this'll last all week. So we cancel plans, plan beach days, buy 90 paddling pools, and then the next day it's raining sideways and 13 degrees again. Like it never happened. Like we dreamed it. Heat waves in Britain are never just weather. They're a national event, an identity crisis, and a comedy sketch rolled into one. And somehow, we love it. We moan about the heat, we queue for calippos, and we pass out in our own conservatories like dehydrated lizards, but we wouldn't change a thing, except maybe for the part where our roads melt. That bit's slightly less charming. 4. Snow, aka the apocalypse. You know it's snowed in Britain when the news opens with chaos across the country, and you're 5 seconds into the broadcast before realizing it's only about 3 centimeters of snow. That's it. One light dusting and suddenly it's end of days behavior. Trains are cancelled, schools are shut, and people are panic buying bread like they're going into hibernation. In most countries, snow is just winter. In Britain, it's a national emergency. The Met Office issues a yellow warning and the country goes full day after tomorrow within the hour. You'd think we'd never seen frozen water before. Now don't get me wrong, snow looks magical for about 15 minutes. Then it turns into grey slush. Dogs start eating it. You slip on the pavement outside Co-op, and suddenly it's not so festive anymore. And driving? Forget it. The second snow appears, British drivers transform into 2 types of people. The ones who go 12 miles per hour with full hazard lights on, and the absolute lunatics who think they're rally drivers, skidding down cul-de-sacs in a 2006 Vauxhall Astra with 0 traction and even less dignity. Meanwhile, the councils throw down a bit of grit like it's fairy dust and then call it a day. One road in every town gets salted, always the one that leads to nowhere useful, and the rest of us are left to ice skate to Tesco like penguins in North Face puffers. Let's not forget the kids who see snow as a gift from the heavens. And fair enough, snow days are basically free holidays sanctioned by the weather gods. But parents, you can see the panic behind their eyes. Suddenly they're stuck inside with 3 hyper kids, a broken sledge, and no more episodes of Bluey to distract them. And then you've got British snow fashion, which makes 0 sense. People will go outside in vans, joggers, and no gloves. Meanwhile, your nan's wearing 6 coats, 2 scarves, and looks like she's about to summit Everest just to go post a birthday card. Now, scientifically, snow in Britain happens when cold air meets moisture in just the right conditions. But let's be honest, nothing about snow in Britain is just right. It either doesn't happen at all, or it dumps a surprise 8 inches overnight and ruins literally everything you had planned. But here's the thing, we still get weirdly excited every single time. We send Snapchats, we take aesthetic walks, we act like it's the first time we've ever seen the color white, and then we immediately regret it once our socks are wet, our train's delayed, and our spine's been slightly compressed by a fall on black ice. Snow in Britain isn't just weather, it's a test of patience, of preparation, and of how long you can walk in frozen jeans before you lose the will to live. 5. Wind, aka the invisible menace. You ever walked out the door and immediately felt like you were being mugged by the atmosphere? That, dear viewer, is Wind Britain's most violent yet invisible form of passive aggression. You can't see it, you can't predict it, but the second it gets involved, your day turns into an episode of total wipeout. Wind in the UK isn't just a bit breezy. No, it's an extreme sport. One gust, and suddenly you're fighting for your life against your own umbrella, which is now inside out, tangled, and performing some kind of tragic interpretive dance. The umbrella's gone. The dignity? That left with the first gust. And don't even try to style your hair. Wind laughs in the face of effort. You leave the house looking sharp, confident. By the time you get to the bus stop, you look like you've been dragged backwards through a hedge made of static and regret. Now, meteorologically speaking, the UK's position by the Atlantic means we get battered by low-pressure systems, which basically translates to, sorry mate, hold on to your wheelie bin, especially in coastal towns. Shout out to Blackpool, where every lamppost has seen some things. And let's not ignore the sound. Wind never shuts up. It whistles through every crack in your house like a ghost with asthma. At night, it turns chimneys into horror movie sound effects. And by 3 am, you're convinced your entire roof's about to fly off like it's auditioning for The Wizard of Oz. Fashion-wise, wind ruins everything. Hats, gone, scarves, wrapped around your neck like you're being attacked by a sentient towel. Long coats, flapping dramatically like you're in a low-budget superhero film no one asked for. Even your voice changes in the wind. Try saying anything and you end up sounding like you're shouting through a tunnel with a mouthful of crisps. Proper British moment. Seeing someone walk directly into 50th wind while still holding a coffee like it's a badge of honor. Pure grit. And then there's storm naming season. Every few months, the Met Office throws a new name at us. Storm Gareth, Storm Eunice, Storm Trevor, and we all pretend like this one's finally gonna finish us off. Spoiler, it never does. But it will rip your fence panel off and launch it into your neighbor's conservatory. And yet, somehow, we still try to fight it. People lean into the wind like they're doing a resistance workout. Cyclists act like they've been hit with an invisible brick wall. And pigeons? Pigeons spend the entire time hovering in one place, flapping with no progress, like broken drones stuck in midair. Wind isn't flashy like snow or dramatic like thunder, but it is, without doubt, the most consistent agent of chaos in the entire British weather lineup. It's not here to kill you, it's here to inconvenience you until you snap. 6. Sun and rain at the same time, aka, what even is this? There's a very special moment in Britain, a rare, confusing, borderline mystical moment when you step outside and it's both sunny and raining at the exact same time. Not one after the other, not light drizzle that turns into sun, no literal rain from a bright blue sky. It's like the weather gods couldn't decide, so they just hit, shuffle. And the worst part? We act like this is completely normal. You'll hear someone say, ooh, classic British weather, while standing there drenched in sunglasses. Meanwhile, the dog looks traumatized, your shoes are soaked, and there's a full rainbow above a Greggs. Honestly, this is the only country where you can get sunburn and hypothermia in the same afternoon. It's like the climate is trying to gaslight us. Scientifically, it's called a sun shower warm, low-level rain from one cloud while the sun beams through from a different direction. But let's be honest, it feels less meteorology and more emotional instability in the sky. You'll go outside dressed for one scenario, coat or no coat, never both, and within 5 minutes you're sweaty, drenched, and furious, holding a broken umbrella and Googling if betrayal has a weather emoji. And for some reason, this particular type of weather only ever happens when you've made plans. Outdoor BBQ, guaranteed sun shower. Wedding photos in the park, better bring a towel and SPF 50. School run, get ready to stand in 2 completely different climates at once while your child tells you it's your fault. Now of course, every Brit is trained to pretend nothing's wrong. We'll stand in the middle of the pavement, in full rain, squinting up at the sun like we've just been personally betrayed. And then of course someone will say it the most British sentence ever. Well, it'll do the garden good. What does that even mean? No one knows, but we say it. We always say it. It's our national coping mechanism. That, and just getting on with it while internally screaming. And let's talk about rainbows for a second. The one redeeming feature of this cursed weather combo: they appear suddenly, make everyone stop and stare like they've never seen color before, and then vanish 5 seconds later like the weather equivalent of a magician with commitment issues. This kind of weather is also where British fashion completely gives up. You'll see someone wearing shorts, sandals, and a parka. Another person with flip-flops and an umbrella so large it looks like they stole it from a golf course. And then someone else with nothing at all, just out there raw-dogging the elements like a legend. Sunny rain isn't weather, it's a cosmic joke. And the punchline is always, "You left your jacket at home, didn't you?" Section 7. Fog and mist, aka silent horror movie mode. You ever walk outside and feel like you've just stepped into the opening scene of a BBC murder mystery? No birds, no color, just silence, and fog thick enough to hide an entire village and 2 unresolved family feuds. That's fog and mist in Britain, not so much a weather event as it is a full-blown vibe. This is the kind of weather that makes you question reality. You're halfway down the road and can't see your own hand, let alone the bus that was allegedly due 7 minutes ago. You start thinking, is this real? Am I alive? Is this purgatory with better public transport? Now, technically, there is a difference between fog and mist. Fog is when visibility drops below 10 meters. Mist is basically fog's polite cousin, still annoying, but less dramatic. But let's be honest, no one in Britain is out there with a laser rangefinder. If it looks like a scene from The Woman in Black, it's fog. That's it. End of. And of course, fog only appears when you desperately need to see things, like when you're driving, navigating unfamiliar roads, or trying to find your keys in the street. Suddenly, your headlights are completely useless, your glasses are steamed up, and you've become a mobile hazard with a learner's permit. There's also that special kind of British fog that rolls in low, hovering just above your knees, making it look like you're walking through dry ice at a 1980s school disco. You expect to hear synth music and someone shouting, "Jason, put down the fog machine." But the weirdest part? Fog makes everything quiet, like suspiciously quiet. You start to notice things. Your footsteps sound louder. Every pigeon feels like it's watching you. It's the only weather that makes a trip to Lidl feel like you're being stalked by a Victorian ghost. And don't get me started on how it clings to you. You come home after walking through mist and somehow your coat, hat, and entire personality are damp. You didn't get rained on the water, just absorbed itself into your soul. And yet, there's something oddly British and poetic about it. Fog is the only weather where we all collectively agree to slow down. Everyone moves more cautiously, people speak more quietly, and for 5 brief hours, even teenagers stop vaping in public, probably because they know the fog is doing it for them. Of course, the moment you try to capture it phone out, lining up a moody aesthetic Instagram story, it vanishes. Just like that, gone. You're left staring at a now perfectly visible road, looking like a dramatic idiot in a trench coat. Fog and mist in Britain don't scream at you, they whisper, they haunt. And most importantly, they mess with your plans without making a sound. 8. Thunderstorms, aka the summer surprise. There's a certain kind of chaos that only arrives when you've spent the entire day sweating through your clothes, sticking to every leather chair in sight, and praying for a breeze, and then, without warning, the sky snaps. Thunder, lightning, dogs panicking, car alarms going off, Nan making the sign of the cross and unplugging the telly. That, my friends, is a British thunderstorm. A rare, dramatic, deeply unsettling event that feels less like weather and more like a warning from the gods. Now don't get excited, we're not talking full-on American-style storm-chasing tornado madness. No. A British thunderstorm usually lasts 13 minutes, knocks over one patio chair, and then everyone talks about it for the rest of the week like it was Independence Day. And they always hit in the middle of the night. You'll be dead asleep, dreaming peacefully about sausage rolls, when boom, the entire sky lights up and suddenly you're wide awake, sitting bolt upright like someone's just slapped you with Zeus. Then comes the national ritual. Run to the window, confirm it's definitely thunder. Watch in silence like you're observing a wild animal. Whisper, "Ooh, that was a big one." Return to bed, slightly shaken but weirdly satisfied. Thunderstorms only really happen here after a proper heat wave. You know the kind, no breeze, thick air, the kind of humidity that makes you question whether you're sweating or the house is crying. You say things like, "It needs to break," as if the atmosphere's got a tension headache. And when it finally does break, carnage. Rain lashes sideways. The roads flood instantly. Pigeons vanish. Cats teleport under sofas. And someone, somewhere, always tries to film it on their phone like they're David Attenborough, except all you can hear is their heavy breathing and, "Oh, did you see that?" We're not built for it. Not emotionally, not structurally. If lightning strikes within a 10-mile radius, you can guarantee 3 things. A power cut in Essex, someone on Facebook posting, "That was loud," and your mum demanding all plugs are removed from sockets in case the storm decides to personally fry the Wi-Fi. And look, we say we love a thunderstorm. We say it's dramatic and cleansing and finally cooled things down. But deep down, every Brit has a primal fear that the lightning will strike them specifically, despite being inside, under a blanket, holding a cup of tea. Thunderstorms in Britain are short-lived, underpowered compared to other countries, and yet somehow still a national event, a shared trauma, a brief flirtation with apocalyptic drama before we go right back to moaning about how muggy it is again. And just like that, it's over. The thunder fades, the rain stops, and the next morning, everything is soaking wet and the sun is back like nothing happened. But we know, we were there. We survived the summer surprise. And there you have it, the complete emotional roller coaster that is British weather. From soggy socks to sunburned shoulders, sideways rain to surprise lightning strikes, we've survived it all, mostly by complaining and wearing the wrong jacket. If you made it this far, congratulations, you're officially weathered. Pun fully intended. Now, be honest, which of these weather types has personally attacked you this year? Was it the fog that made your morning commute feel like Silent Hill, or the heat wave that turned your flat into a microwave shoebox? Drop your weather horror stories in the comments, the more dramatic, the better. Bonus points if a brolly was involved. And if you enjoyed this mildly educational spiral into meteorological madness, do the Holy Trinity. Like, subscribe, and click that little bell, because let's face it, your notifications are probably more reliable than the Met Office anyway. Cheers for watching. Now go outside, check the weather, and prepare to be emotionally manipulated all over again.